Good morning, good shots, everybody. A little bit exhausted. Not so much. Just raw. We lost an hour of sleep last night, but we're back on 7 hours ahead of people in New York, so almost back to normal. This week's parsha is actually double parsha. I totally forgot until last night that it was parsha parah, and thank God I was able to find something. I'm gonna find something for parah as well as shmini. So this week's parsha. At the height, the biggest simcha, literally the biggest simcha, we have something so tragic. The biggest simcha. Think about, the mushal, the Pri Tzaddik brings down a king, gets mad at his wife, sends her away, takes her back, and the love is greater. The love is greater now than before. And in context, okay, Par Shmini, Shechina, but the context is this is just a few months after they're forgiven for the Chet Egel. They do Avodah Zarah, the worst thing you could do, the worst Aveira, and the people were literally in limbo for all these months, building the Mishkan. Then 7 days, Moshe's putting up the Mishkan, putting it up, taking it down, Karbanos, nothing going on. All of a sudden, day 7, opening day, Aaron does the Ketores, and the fire comes down from Shemaim, and the people are freaking. All the people, lashon of Simcha, V'yichu, V'yikach Hashem, they was dancing, they were singing and going nuts. And none of you think that, okay, we're in a good spot, we've got it all, and they bring this extra fire, and they're killed. And they're killed by the fire. So, Pri Tzaddik talks about the way a person is supposed to act, because we see the way Nadav and Avihu act, and we see the way Aaron acted. Because the Torah says, "Vayidom Aaron." Aaron didn't say anything; he was quiet. But what's so important to say he was quiet? Who cares about your feelings? The point is, Aaron, who was upset, who was sad, didn't say anything. He was tzidek alav es hadin, tzidek alav es hadin, justifying the din. We see this by Abraham, who puts himself in the fire, by Nimrod. This is the din. This is what Hashem wants. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. We see this by Yaakov with Lavan. Tzidek alav es hadin. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen with Esav. I justify the din. Whatever happens is going to happen. And the same thing with Aaron. Aaron viewed himself off of the Afer, like Moshe. Whatever is the din, that's the din. There's no reason to get upset about it. If you believe that's from Hashem, and that the neshamos are going to go on from this world and go into higher levels, that you accept it. Tzidok alav es hadin. And think about it. They were zecha to the kahuna, the zecha to get the money of pidyon bachar, pidyon behemos, Ma'aser, Truma, all these things that had, a normal person would think, okay, I've reached it. I've reached my level. I'm good to go. No, a person should always be thinking, there's a chait I did. There's something that's not perfect. I have to ask other people advice. And that's something that none of you didn't do. Of anybody who could have learned how to act when something good happens to you, when there's a tov from Hashem, look at Moshe and Aaron. Just look at them. But none of you, we're smarter than them. We don't need to ask advice. And that's the downfall. The downfall is when you believe in yourself too much, this kavod, hisnasus, you get this kavod, you get this haughtiness, and that's your downfall. That's literally your downfall. And a person, the Pri Tzaddik says, should always be asking advice from other people. Something wrongs you, you're in machlokes, something happens, maybe you're not 100% right. Maybe this, and even if you are 100% right, it's always good practice to ask other people. Ask other people their advice. Am I doing the right thing? Is it proper? Should I be davening this way? Is this the right shul? Is this the right sefer I should be learning? You never complete, and a person should always think that. And the Pri Tzaddik brings down even further, is that the more you get from Hashem, the more good things happen, the more you have to act in yourself. The greater things that happen to me, I think it's all myself. A poor person, doesn't look in the mirror, you don't like what you see. But the more a person gets, the more a person has, it's easier to look yourself and think it's all Kolchem Otzim Yadi, the more a person has to look that it's all from Hashem. And this is an active thing. And this is the midah of Yaakov, Daso Emes, Tzidek esadin. If you totally believe that that's what Hashem wants, it's not really, you do your shtadlus, but the outcome is totally Hashem. That's the way it's supposed to look. This week we have Parshas Parah, and the Pri Tzaddik brings down a very interesting thought that the four parshios, Shkolim, Zachar, Parah, Chodesh, are very similar to the four Kosos on Seder night, and also the four Lashonos of Geula, Seis, Tzaddik, Ga'ati, L'kachti. And we also know that there's no break between 3 and 4, just like there's no break between Parah and a Chodesh. Next week will be a Chodesh, for those taking score at home, don't forget. So there's no break between the 3rd and 4th coast. You can't drink anything between those two. So Pri Tzaddik brings around that the four parshos has to do with being metahar yourself. The first, Shkolim, Shekel HaKodesh, Esrim Gera, that's the price that the Jewish people sold Yosef, Esrim Gera. So therefore, to clear up Sinas Chinam, the first is Shkolim. And also, parenthetically, one of the tumas is Mitzorah. Mitzorah starts because there's Sinas Chinam, there's hatred that the brothers had with Yosef. So therefore, Mitzorah is further away from everybody, has to be by himself. As we see next week's parasha. The next is Zachar. Parashat Zachar. We'll read about Amalek. Amalek Mikre Ra is Taiva. Taiva, that was they went after the bris milah of the Jewish people, and the tuma of Taiva is Zav. The Zav has to go out of the second camp, Machna Leviah. Machna Leviah were the ones who learned Torah. So a person has the Yetzer Hara, has a Taiva, and the point is that Taiva is supposed to be directed towards loving and desiring what Hashem wants, loving the Torah. And that's Machna Leviah. So Parashat Zachar is the second Shabbos, and we try to remember Amalek, what he did, and try to turn around the Tumah to have the Taiva for Torah things. And the third Shabbos, third Parsha, is Parah. Paraduma, we take the Azov, we take the Parah, we burn it, and the point is a person that has Gaiva, his ashes won't be coming up Mashiach. And as we said this in the last week's Parsha as well, it was Parashat Tzav. Parashat Tzav has to do with the ashes, and a person who is the Karban Ola, person who's Ola, their ashes are not going to come up on Mashiach. And that's Parashat Parah. The third Shabbos is to remember that this tumah of Gaius, of Gaiva, which is worse than the others, Pri Tzaddik says. A person can always try from hatred, stay away from Taiva, but kavod is something that's the most difficult thing at all, because the more a person accomplishes and gets, the natural tendency is to think it's all me. And this is a big warning. People who Gaiva may not be coming back when Mashiach comes, so be very careful. Therefore, the tikkun against the Gaiva is Paraduma. We take the egel, we take the ashes, remember that we're very low, and we take the azov, we sprinkle with grass, very low grass. And these three things are supposed to be metaken to HaChodesh. And the point is, after we were metaken the kina, which is like shkolim, and the taiva, which is zachar, and the kavod, we're talking that with parah, those three things lead us to the ga'alti. And the three lashonos go into the ga'alti, the three coasts go into the fourth one, and so too. We should be going out of Adar, and we go into Nisan to remember these three things to fix as we go into Chodesh Nisan and to Pesach. Shabbat Shalom.